As you guys saw in the thumbnail, in today's video we're gonna be over three main things, such as which evolution is the best, and we're gonna have the best terms to judge the evolutions, like how strong it is, how versatile it is, and how does the evolution synergizes with other evolutions. In today's video also we're gonna be over like the best decks with these double evolution combos and with one evolution as well. But not least, we're gonna have the conclusion about the evolutions. Like we're gonna rate all the evolutions, we're gonna do a tier list also, so you guys know which evolution should I be taking. I see in the screen, I already ranked all the evolutions, so we're gonna start from the worst to the best evolutions, and also I'm gonna tell you why I think this. If you think some other way, please let me know in the comments. So well, I'm gonna start first with the worst evolutions, and the way I'm ranking these evolutions is just because how strong they are, how they synergize, and also how versatility they have in the game. So alright, first we're gonna start with the barbs. The thing about the barbarians is like they're not an awful evolution, but the thing is like they get countered by almost any evolution in the meta. So for example, yeah, barbs are good, but there is Evo Wizard, there is Firecracker, there is Evo Bomber, there is Evo Bulk, there is Evo Tesla, which is great. Evo Ram even pushes the barbs. Evolved Royal Giant has the knockback, which just pulls them away, and with a fireball you have an easy kill in the Evo barbs, and that's why they are not the greatest. Also, the fact that Cannoneer two shots barbs and then the Evo barbs is something that it's kind of sad for the barbs, you know. So that's why the barbs are here. They're like the worst tier in Clash Royale, at least right now, because of the meta, not because the barbs themselves are like bad. It's just because the meta has a lot of splash units. Skelly King too. Skelly King is pretty good against them, so that's why they're like not the best evolution to choose in this event. Now we're gonna talk about archers. Well, archers is kinda the same. Like almost every other evolution that is in the game right now takes way more value than the archers. And the best way to do it is comparing archers with firecracker. Both die with arrows, but the fact that you can always get cheap damage with the firecracker, or you can make the opponent miss the arrows or on the firecracker. I don't know if someone has any flashback about that of missing arrows on a firecracker. It's something that could happen. The things like archers, yeah, they deal insane damage, but not that much, you know. And firecracker is always super annoying. You can always use it to deal and kill a lot of units because it has way more skills than just the regular archers. And I mean, since arrows are everywhere and also void, makes Evo archers an easy target to be able to die with almost every single spell in the meta. If this content is valuable to you, please make sure to subscribe and check out all my other videos as well. So that's why I will put these two evolutions at the very low top of the evolution tier list. So now we're gonna talk about the Evo win condition. I think the best one by far is the evolution RG. And why is the number one Evo win condition? Because it synergizes pretty good with almost any single evolution. So for example, here I have Valkyrie, Knight, and Tesla. You can make an RG deck with those three evolutions that are support cards. And I mean, man, like evolution RG and Wizard is just insane. Like, I mean, if you're struggling to get to Ultimate Champion or 9,000 trophies or 8,000 trophies, if you get Evolution RG with Evo Wizard, man, I'm pretty sure you will get it. Like, even if you don't have Evolution RG, but you have Evo Wizard, that combo is deadly. If you want to check out videos on how to play RG, I have a lot of videos pushing in the top 50 and top 20 in the world in Ultimate Champion. If you want to check it out, make sure to check out my channel as well. So, I mean, you can also make work RG with Evo Skellies, with Evo Bats, with Evo Bomber, with Evo Firecracker, even with Evo Recruits, can work, you know. Even with archers and barbs could work, and those are like the worst evolutions in the tier list. You can still make work RG with almost any single evolution, so that's why it's the best. But now if we're talking about Evo Baloram is more like a niche evolution. So for example, if I have Evolution Baloram, I know it will fit in 3 or 4 decks, like Pekka, like Mega Knight, like a quick cycle breach spam. I just made a video winning 12 wins in a grand challenge with some breach spam anti-meta deck. You can check it out too. And what else? And maybe a recruit's battle ram. So which evolutions are the best to pair with the battle ram? I will say Evo Wizard if you have a tank. I'll say Evo Sap, which is pretty good. And then I will say Evo Recruits because they're decent, you know. So I will say if you plan to choose battle ram, make sure you have Evo Wizard, Evo Sap. Or if you don't have battle ram but you still play breach spam, I'll say make sure to choose the Evo Wizard. That is the best evolution in the game because you can put Evo Wizard in almost every single deck and you can make it work. Alright, now we're gonna go over the Evo Mortar. Evo Mortar is pretty good mainly because it's been like a lot of Cannoneer in the meta in the last month. So, I mean, Cannoneer with bait is pretty good and Mortar definitely takes the spot. I'll say Evo Mortar is pretty good right now, especially with Skelly King, Cannon Card, and bait units. I will show you the decks later in the video, but definitely something that you want to check it out is having Evo Mortar with Evo Bats, with Evo Bomber, I'll say maybe Evo Skellys, and then Evo Recruits. And of course, as a bonus wildcard, I'll say Evo Wizard. Like, Evo Wizard is always great. Like, any deck you can think of, you can put in the Evo Wizard, and Evo Wizard will do the work always. Well, then, now we're going over the Evo Recruits. And to be honest, I think Evo Recruits are pretty strong. I mean, I see them in top ladder, like, overall. But the fact that there is Wizards, there is Skelly Kings, there is Bombers, you know, there is Valkyries, Evo Tesla, makes them harder. I mean, they're super good that even in a meta that they have a lot of counters, they still do pretty decent. So I will say, if you are a Recruits player or you plan to use Recruits, you can still use it. Just make sure to use cards like Void, I will say, or Arrows or Fireball to make sure to take out those units that are, I'll say, pretty annoying for you. And the best combos right now, I'll say, like for Recruits and Evo Mortar. For Mortar, Mortar and Recruits works. I'll say works pretty good. And for Recruits, I'll say Recruits Firecracker are great. Recruits Evo Battle Ram, Recruits Royal Giant are pretty good too. And Recruits Wizard could work, but sometimes it's kind of expensive, you know. But also Recruits Firecracker in a bait deck will be great. And last but not least, I'll say the Evo Wall Breakers are one of the worst evolution win conditions right now in the game. Not because they are like awful, it's just the fact that they don't have like a direct impact in the game. It's not like a Evo Recruits that you can push both lanes, and even then it's not like an Evo Wizard that can just defend a whole push. And actually within a Spirit and Lock, you can defend the Evo Wall Breakers quite easily. They're not awful, I'm just saying that they're just way more better options for that free spot in this event. Now we've got the Evo Wizard, and Evo Wizard, in my opinion, is by far the best support card in the game. Why? Because you can throw Evo Wizard in almost any single deck, and it's gonna do the work. The dude's great at defending, the dude's great at attacking, the dude's great at surviving spells. So, man, basically, having this card is like having Exodia. You have like the best card ever, you know, like having like the best Pokemon in the game. So I'll say Evo Wizard is this guy, is our guy, basically. Pretty much you can put him in RG. In RG he's great. With Evo Valorant, you can definitely use a Pekka, for example. In a cycle deck, you can use Hog Earthquake, and instead of Firecracker, you can have the Evo Wizard. I'll say for anyone who doesn't have the Evo Wizard, go for it, because it's pretty much the best evolution, especially if you want to hit that Ultimate Champion League, if you want to reach 9,000 trophies or 8,000 or 6,000, like, doesn't matter where you want to get, Evo Wizard is the card that's gonna help you to get there once you understand how does it work and how good of a support card the Evo Wizard is. Well, and of course I'm gonna be showing you decks later in the video. Then we got the EVOS app, and I mean EVOS app is the best spell. Well, technically Goblin Barrel is a spell, but it's not a support spell, because I mean EVOS app is great. I'll say Evo Wizard and EVOS app are pretty good combo. For example, in Pekka Breach Spam or Mega Knight, or in Giant, or in Giant Goblin. I have a lot of videos here in the channel as well. So you can pretty much pair them with the support evolutions, I'll say. For example, EVOS app also with Hog Rider is decent. With RG is decent too, but with Lava Hound is pretty good. And then we have the EVOS Kellys. EVOS Kellys are one of our best cycle cards that are also support cards in the game. We can use it with Logbait, with Xbow, with 2.6, with Logbait, with Miner Cycle, with Mortar. There's plenty of options, and especially now with Cannoneer, EVOS Kellys are kind of like a threat, a big threat in the game right now, so I will definitely choose them. EVOS Kellys, of course, pretty much with any cycle card is good. So for example, EVOS Kellys and Evo Knight are quite good. EVOS Kellys and Evo Tesla, for example, EVOS Kellys and Evo Firecracker, EVOS Kellys and Evo Wizard in a cycle deck. But also RG and EVOS Kellys are quite good. These are like the main combos with EVOS Kellys. And then we have the Evo Bats. Why Evo Bats are in the middle of the tier on Evo support? Because I'll say, since now Cannoneer is meta, regular Bats are pretty good against Cannoneer. And then you have the evolution, and if the opponent doesn't have a sap or a rage, for example, most of the people have arrows, they need to do a -1 trade, and that's great for us, and especially like Evo Bats kill things like Skellydrax or blah blah blah, so it will help us to defend a lot, and of course getting value always against Cannoneer, and against Princess Tower also gets a lot of value if they get to heal themselves completely. Then we have the Evo Bomber. Of course, Evo Bomber and Firecracker both dies to arrows. Oh, by the way, Evo Bats, you can pair them pretty good, especially with Evo Mortar, with RG, and I'll say with Evo Sap 2 works if you have any kind of breach spam deck and you don't have Evo Wizard, you can always use this. By the way, a good replacement for Evo Wizard right now is Goblin Demolisher or Mother Witch or Phoenix. Those are pretty good options in case you don't have that Evo or you don't want to use it. Evo Bomber, as I said, is great because there is a lot of Swarm Bait meta units, so Bomber does great, and then Evo Bomber does even better. Always get chip damage, sometimes game-changing damage. And then we have the Evo Firecracker that is kind of the same as Evo Bomber, but then it's 3 elixir, you don't lose -1 when you arrows them, it's just like an even trade. So I'll say, I'll just put it right there. And of the Evo support, I'll say the Ice Spirit is the worst, but to be honest, Ice Spirit is not that bad. I'll say, in my opinion, Evo Ice Spirit is better than Barbs and Archers right now because Evo Ice Spirit doesn't die to arrows. Well, it does, but you're not gonna arrow. You need to arrow predicting Evo Ice Spirit, and sometimes there isn't some defense since you got them like every 2 cycles, and usually you use Evo Ice Spirit in cycle decks. There is times where you just insta defend with a cannon and Evo Ice Spirit, and the defense is flawless, and it's like, man, it's so annoying. So I'll say if you're a cycle freak, Hoggies, Hog, Mortar, or Miner, you can definitely go with the Evo Ice Spirit over there. So now we're gonna go with the Evo support too, and those will be the tanks and of course, and the Evo Tesla. Evo Valkyrie is pretty good, mainly because of the ability. She kills bats, she kills a lot of things mainly. So I'll say Evo Valk is one of our best options as a tank right now. Why? Just because the main ability that she has. Which decks we have with Evo Valk? We have Hog Exinado that is super strong and also super popular in top ladder. We also have Lavaloon, then we have Graveyard, we have E-Giant, we have plenty of options for the Evo Valk that is insane. And I'll say, well, Evo Valk is just like the best tank right now. It's pretty much in the spot with the Evo Knight because Evo Knight is great too. Like any deck you can think of, you can put in there the Evo Knight. So I'll say you can pair like Evo Knight and Evo Wizard, Evo Valk, Evo Wizard, also those with Evo Tesla. So I'll say I won't pair like Evo Knight with Evo Barbs, for example, but you can also make it work in a column deck. And then we got the Evo Tesla. To be honest, I think a lot of people relies on Evo Tesla, but I'll say it's not that great because you can get way more impact with other evolutions, such as Wizard, I'll say, such as Sap, and such as Evo RG. But in some matchups, Evo Tesla is just great because Evo Tesla pretty much kills all the cheap stuff, all the cheap units. So I'll say, I mean, Evo Tesla is not the greatest, but it's still pretty good after the nerfs that she got in the past. So now that we just rank almost single evolution in the game, now I'm gonna show you guys some decks with a lot of pair of evolutions that you might want to be using. Right now, I am top 60 in the world. Not with this graveyard deck, but this graveyard deck is also pretty good. You can always use this mortar deck, and you know, the main Evo here is the Evo mortar. But if not, you can use bats, you can use archers, you can use bomber, for example. Those are pretty good. These are the deck that I've been bringing you guys in my videos, pushing to the top of the world. You can see here in my channel. This deck is pretty good too. We got this version again too with Skelly Drags. The main thing, the good thing about these decks is like, you most of the times only need common cards, and common cards are the best to get, you know, so that will help you guys. This deck is also pretty good. If you don't have Demolisher, you can always use Spear Goblins, which are great. Again, this RG deck is insane. Also, I like it a lot. I got top 60 with it. I'm gonna show you guys. As you can see here, we beat Anaman, #1 in the world too. We beat a lot of guys today. For example, this Pekka deck is always great. You can always switch out the evolutions as you want. And that's the good thing about the evolutions. You can always be changing. And even then, if you only have one evolution, for example, this deck just does great with Evo Wizard. Then we got this Breach Spam deck, which is great against Mortar, against Cycles, and against Beatdown too. We have Inferno. We have a lot of things. We can also put Archers in here, for example. This Golem deck is great against Cannoneer. And as you can see, we got a lot of options to choose. For example, in this deck, Evo Tesla does a good job, right? But Evo Eye Spirit actually makes the defenses so good. So, I mean, you can always use all of these evolutions. Now I'm going to be showing you some other decks. For example, this deck, I copied this deck from Mohamed Light, and it's pretty good. More Mortar here. Hog also is great. This giant Goblin Giant push is also pretty good. You don't need the Evo Goblin Giant. I copied this from Mohamed too. This one is insane too. And you know what? If you got the Evo Goblin Barrel, you might as well go for Skellies overnight, because I think Skellies are just way better. Then we got Logbait again. This drill deck also pretty good. You can also use Hoggies here in Earthquake, but this deck with drill also works pretty good. Like, you don't really need the Evo Goblin drill. If you don't want to pay, don't pay. You can use this version. It's pretty good. Here we have more drill. This Pekka Breach Spam that is nuts. And then we have again more bait, as you can see here. And even if we go to the top of the world, for example, this guy, look at this. He's playing Mortar. So those are the best decks, and they are more accessible to you thanks to this event. Alright, to finish the video, now we're gonna be talking about the evolutions, which evolutions are the best. I'll say in tier 1, the #1, I'll say Evo Wizard. We're gonna number them now. Evo Wizard is tier 1. I'll say Skellies is tier 1 too. Then we will go to Bomber. Bomber is tier 1 too. There we have 3 cards. I'll say Evo Valorant is tier B, will be maybe. And then I will say Evo Sap. Evo Sap is tier A, definitely so good. Evo Tesla then, I'll say in my top 5. And pretty much those. In tier B, we'll have like Knight, we'll have Firecracker, we'll have, well, Ice Spirit works, Bats too. But the best you need to show, or to select, sorry, I'll say the Evo Wizard is mainly the card that you want to be getting in this event. So if this content was valuable to you, please make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video pushing to the top of the world. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.